disclosing the 7 characteristics of a narcissist, crucial indications to look for. Narcissism is a complex personality trait characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance and a deep need for attention and admiration. It exists on a spectrum, ranging from healthy self-confidence to pathological narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder definition: a prevalent pattern of grandiosity, craving for adulation, and lack of empathy are characteristics of narcissistic personality disorder (NPD), a mental health illness. People with NPD frequently exhibit inflated feelings of entitlement and self-importance. They can think they are better than everyone else and need to be praised all the time. About 1% of the general population suffers with NPD. Specific criteria for diagnosing NPD are outlined in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders (DSM-5). These include an exaggerated sense of one's own significance, obsession with unrealistic expectations of unending achievement, and a conviction in one's individuality. Historical background and frequency. Originating in Greek mythology, the concept of narcissism is named after Narcissus, who fell in love with his own mirror. Early in the 20th century, Sigmund Freud incorporated narcissism into psychoanalytic thinking. The 1960s saw the development of a contemporary theory of narcissism as a personality disease. According to research, narcissistic tendencies have become more prevalent in Western countries in recent decades. Research shows that men are more likely than women to have NPD. The prevalence and manifestation of narcissistic tendencies may be influenced by cultural variables and societal shifts. Narcissistic types. Psychologists distinguish between various forms of narcissism, each with unique traits. Overt displays of domination and self-importance are characteristics of grandiose narcissism. The traits of vulnerable narcissism include insecurity and hypersensitivity. Combining narcissistic characteristics with antisocial actions is known as malignant narcissism. A variant of susceptible narcissism known as covert narcissism occurs when people use modesty to conceal their self-importance. Acquiring praise by seeming altruism is a component of communal narcissism. It is easier to identify narcissistic actions in a variety of situations when one is aware of these characteristics. Different therapeutic and interpersonal interaction strategies may be needed for each category. Characteristic traits of a narcissist's deep-seated fears and an exaggerated sense of self are the root causes of the distinctive behavioral patterns displayed by narcissists. These characteristics frequently show out in their social interactions and relationships. An overwhelming need for praise, constant adulation, and praise are what narcissists want. To prove their value, they look for praise and attention. They frequently use this need to control discussions and divert attention to themselves. To impress others, they could make up stories or inflate their achievements. Defensive acts or strong emotional reactions might be triggered by criticism or a lack of admiration. In social settings, narcissists often monopolize discussions. They expect others to listen attentively and offer praise. This constant need for external validation can strain relationships and omnipresent feeling of superiority. Narcissists think they are superior to other people by nature. Their interactions and decision-making are impacted by this superiority complex. They frequently disregard the knowledge or opinions of others. Those that narcissists believe to be beneath them may be minimized or devalued. Conflicts in both personal and professional contexts may result from this mindset. They find it hard to own their errors or weaknesses because of their exaggerated sense of self. When confronted, they could respond angrily or defensively. Narcissists may become isolated as a result of their superiority complex. It prevents them from developing real relationships or understanding the experiences of others. Exaggeration and success fantasies. Grandiose ideas of their own significance and potential are held by narcissists. They frequently dream of unbounded brilliance, power, or success. It is possible for these people to overstate their abilities or accomplishments. They anticipate unquestioning recognition of their alleged grandeur from others. In order to realize their fantasies, narcissists may set lofty objectives. They might, however, find it difficult to deal with the reality of diligence and tenacity. Their inflated sense of self-worth may cause them to make rash or dangerous choices. They could overestimate their own skills and attempt tasks that are beyond their reach. A feeling of possession and abuse. Narcissists think they should be given preferential treatment and advantages. Exploitative actions are frequently the result of this attitude of entitlement. They might exploit others in order to further their objectives. When pursuing their own goals, narcissists usually ignore the needs or feelings of others. They expect their spouses to accommodate their whims in partnerships. When their imagined entitlements are denied, they could respond with manipulation or rage. This characteristic may appear in a variety of contexts, taking credit for the work of others at work, in friendships, expecting unrequited favors all the time, in the family, pressuring family members to make sacrifices in order to further their goals. Over time, their exploitative attitudes frequently lead to strained or destroyed partnerships. Behavioral patterns managing criticism and liability. Narcissists find it difficult to take constructive criticism well. When they receive criticism, they frequently respond defensively or angrily. This results from their need to project a flawless image and their brittle sense of self-worth. They usually avoid accepting responsibility for their errors or failures by shifting the blame to others. Their exaggerated feeling of self-worth is protected by this deflection. Gaslighting is a tactic used by narcissists to cause others to question their perceptions. To escape responsibility, they can fabricate information or deny occurrences, relationships with others, and a lack of empathy. Narcissists find it difficult to build sincere relationships with other people. They see partnerships mostly as a way to win approval and recognition. Pathological attention need, constant attention, and adulation narcissists want. They frequently control discussions by directing the conversation back to themselves. They might do things like fabricate drama or exaggerate accomplishments in an effort to get attention. They may use social media sites as a platform to advertise themselves. Narcissists can feel aloof or agitated when they are not the center of attention. They find it difficult to share the limelight or acknowledge the accomplishments of others. Boundary violations and manipulation. In order to achieve their goals, narcissists usually use manipulation techniques. To sway other people's behavior, they can employ seduction, flattery, or guilt-tripping. Feeling entitled to other people's time, effort, or resources, they frequently disrespect personal boundaries. This may show up as invasive conduct or a disregard for privacy. Narcissists could take advantage of other people's weaknesses for their own benefit. To stay in power, they may manipulate feelings or utilize private information as leverage. Psychological impacts and comorbidities affect on well-being and mental health. Significant emotional distress can result from narcissistic activities. When people's exaggerated sense of self is questioned, they may feel extremely empty or unworthy. Depression and anxiety may result from this. Narcissists frequently chase perfection obsessively out of fear of failing or receiving negative feedback. Burnout and chronic stress can be brought on by this ongoing pressure. Social isolation and loneliness may result from their inability to establish real connections. Despite looks of confidence, self-esteem problems are prevalent. Narcissists may find it difficult to handle setbacks, which can result in mood swings and emotional instability. Handling narcissists in individual connections. Narcissists frequently find it difficult to develop strong emotional ties. Relationship imbalance may result from them putting their own needs and wants ahead of those of their spouse. This selfish conduct may lead to a lack of intimacy and emotional support. Partners may become worn out by constant demands for praise and attention. In order to keep control, narcissists may also use manipulation techniques. They may employ gaslighting or guilt-tripping to erode their partner's self-esteem and establish control. Resolution of conflicts becomes especially difficult. Narcissists may harbor resentment for imagined slights and are rarely willing to own up to their mistakes. This unwillingness to accept accountability may result in ongoing disputes and unsolved problems. Effect on hierarchies and professional relationships. Narcissists frequently pursue status and power in the workplace. They might make supervisors feel good while disparaging subordinates, which would make the workplace poisonous. Their hunger for praise may cause them to undermine the accomplishments of their colleagues or claim credit for the labor of others. Because narcissists find it difficult to take into account the opinions of others, collaboration is challenging. They might ignore team members' insightful opinions, which would impede creativity and production. Their exaggerated sense of self-importance may lead to harsh criticism of colleagues and irrational expectations. Leadership positions present particular difficulties. Personal gain may take precedence over company objectives for narcissistic leaders. They might act on impulse without thinking through the long-term effects, which could endanger employee morale and business success. They anticipate special treatment or exemption from laws that apply to others because they feel entitled. They struggle to comprehend or care about the sentiments of others because they lack empathy. One-sided relationships where the narcissist's wants are prioritized are frequently the result of this emotional estrangement. They might constantly try to outdo others or demonstrate their superiority by engaging in one-upmanship. Friendships and love relationships may suffer as a result of this behavior. Establishing limits with a narcissist. Dealing with narcissistic behavior requires setting clear limits. Maintaining a healthier dynamic is facilitated by open communication about appropriate behavior and the penalties for transgressing boundaries. It's crucial to enforce boundaries consistently. Remaining steadfast is crucial since narcissists may challenge boundaries frequently. Refrain from arguing or defending choices. The best answers are succinct and straightforward. Think about restricting touch or using a gray rock strategy, which offers few emotional responses to provocations. If required, record conversations, particularly in legal or professional settings. Seek assistance from dependable family members, friends, or experts to uphold your boundaries. Victim self-care and personal development. For people affected by narcissistic relationships, self-care must be prioritized. A balanced diet, regular exercise, and enough sleep are the cornerstones of physical well-being. A sense of self that has been damaged by narcissistic abuse can be restored by pursuing interests and hobbies. Meditation and other mindfulness techniques can help people manage their emotions better and feel less stressed. Creating a solid support system of family and friends is essential for providing emotional support. Regaining a sense of independence and purpose is facilitated by establishing and following personal goals. Journaling can be a useful tool for tracking healing progress and processing feelings. Development and healing for narcissists. Growth is attainable for those with narcissistic qualities who are willing to change, even though it can be difficult. Acknowledging the need for assistance is an important first step. Relationships and self-awareness can be enhanced by cultivating empathy via activities and treatment. Personal development requires the ability to accept criticism and flaws. Gratitude exercises assist in changing the emphasis from entitlement to appreciation, establishing real self-worth based on real achievements rather than lofty aspirations. Self-regulation and interpersonal connections can be enhanced by cultivating emotional intelligence abilities. Long-lasting improvement frequently requires a commitment to ongoing treatment and personal development activities.